And it kind of feels like a conspiracy. But a conspiracy? Huh. You know what is a conspiracy? The plot of part 7. Well, as we get into the part of this video, I'm going to explain the literal plot synopsis of part 7 by memory. I'm going to have the wiki page up of like the characters, just their images, only so I know, because I can't remember them. So, the whole story of Steel Ball Part 7, JoJo's Part 7, Steel Ball Run. So, Johnny Joestar enters the Steel Ball Run race, which is a cross-country race across America, and you can do however way you can. You can't go by train. You have to go like by horse, by foot, whatever. It's a cross-country race, kind of as a cover-up so that the president, President Funny Valentine, can get all 7 corpse parts of basically Jesus. That's the best way. It's literally Jesus. The 7 corpse parts that are spread out across America because it's Jesus. So the Mormons are right, I guess. I don't know. And basically, the corpse parts are meant to be like given great abilities with stands, something like that, as to transition into a new era for JoJo's, as the previous parts were doing something else, but it still has stands. But that's whatever. So, but there are still people born with stands, which are fucking weird. Whatever. We're not going to get into that. So he starts the race because he's intrigued by this guy named Gyro Zeppeli, who's like helped him get on his horse, which is weird. And Gyro Zeppeli is basically the Joe Bro of the part, and he more or less tries to basically help him along the way and recover all of these corpse parts to dig up this government conspiracy that Funny Valentine is trying to basically become a dictator of America because he wants to have America become great again. Huh. Weird. So anyways, as the race goes on, there are multiple stages, and in each stage there's like, there's prize money, and there's prize pools, and whoever wins gets this grand prize, but you get small prizes and gifts for finishing each leg of the race first and second and so forth, blah, 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 blah. So they keep going, they face a couple adversaries here and there, none of them really matter. This guy Mountain Tim tries to help him on the way, so does Hot Pants. Lucy Steele, which is Steven Steele, he's the very young daughter of wife of Steven Steele, who is running the race. He is funding the race. Basically he's trying to keep her away from like her family because they're abusive, which is cool, but she's also a minor, but not in a sexy way. He knows not to do stupid shit. He's like, yeah, she's my wife, but not for that. But anyways, yeah, so that's the whole thing. So as the race continues, they get a couple of parts. Johnny gets a stand called Tusk, and it evolves throughout the race, and basically allows him to use this ability called the Spin. The Spin, which gets really helped out by Gyro Zeppeli because it comes from Italy, from this family that uses steel balls, the Steel Ball Run, the balls, and basically helps Johnny learn how to use his stand and helps him along the way. And as they continue, they encounter Dio, who then also later becomes a stand user with the stand Scary Monsters, which basically turns him into a dinosaur. But after he gets the stand, he just basically has the senses of a velociraptor. That's a little weird. But along the way, Lucy, Gyro, and Johnny basically try to uncover a lot of conspiracy that, of course, Funny Valentine is trying to protect his ass, but also trying to get all the corpse parts together so he can basically become unstoppable. And it goes on. They go to Kansas. They go across the river, or they face Sandman, who also has a stand, and he's basically a Native American who literally runs the entire race, but that doesn't matter because he gets defeated. And then they go across the river, and then nothing really happens. They all go to Milwaukee, or into Wisconsin, into Milwaukee, and Johnny and Gyro got to spend a whole fuckload of money and get rid of all their possessions, more or less, to get rid of a curse, and then they get another part of the corpse, at this point they have like 3 or 4 pieces of the corpse or something like that. I don't remember. I don't know. I can't remember at that point. But then they cross the river, which at this point it's like November or October. I can't remember. It's like, yeah, November. And the lake is frozen. But this is where they get assaulted and try to get assassinated by Magenta, and I can't remember what the other guy's name is, but I know he's on here. Not Axl Rose. Is it Axl Rose? No, it's not Axl Rose. No, because he's later. Not Magenta, not Ringo Road again. What the? Weka Pipo. Weka Pipo is just another guy from Italy that deals with, the steel ball shit, but does it a little bit differently. And it comes to like a stalemate, more golden spiral things, and whatever. It goes on for a little while. And then they go to Kentucky for some reason, where another corpse part is. And at this point, Johnny already has like Tusk Act 2, which basically allows him not to just use his nails, but he has like a physical stand. And it is while at this church in Kentucky, which basically just brings up your past and horrible things about like history and stuff and makes you relive it and kill yourself or something like that. He gets talked to by Jesus Christ himself. And Jesus tells him to shoot himself so that his stand can evolve further into Tusk Act 3. And that allows him to do some more stuff, which is basically better control it, I guess. Tusk Act 3 is fucking weird. I don't know. It just basically tells him, yeah, you can shoot yourself and you'll be fine. Metaphysics. I don't know. Because at this point, most of the corpse parts are more or less brought together, except for like 1 or 2. I can't remember. It's really weird. The president already has a stand. Oops, surprise. And his stand is called D4C, or Dirty Deeds Done Dirt Cheap. And he's basically a dimension hopper. And there was a whole retconning thing because, like, each dimension has a Funny Valentine with Dirty Deeds Done Dirt Cheap, which would have been broken because he would have been unbeatable. But it was retconned, so only one universe had it, and it just basically leapt from dimension to dimension of Funny Valentines, and he can go into different dimensions, or the one with Dirty Deeds Done Dirt Cheap can go into different dimensions. But if other people from different dimensions or objects from different dimensions go into another dimension, they basically, and they see themselves or the other object, they basically merge together and blow up. They die. While this is going on, everything is going on in DC. There's this whole like thing where Who Shot Johnny Joestar, where it was, I think it was Gyro, Diego, Weka Pipo. Wait, no, it was Diego, Weka Pipo, maybe Magenta. I can't remember. And the president. And nobody knows who saw what because there was some weird manipulation with D4C. No, it's weird. It's basically the Kennedy assassination. But Johnny's not dead. God's not dead. But because of that, this is hard to explain because I'm going off the top of my head and I'm trying to explain the entire thing of Steel Ball Run and I'm caught at this. But this is basically the peak of the part. And there's this whole thing where now all the corpse parts are brought together because Johnny given up his last corpse part, but it doesn't matter because he still has Tusk for some reason. I don't really know. Plot. But it's at this point that Funny Valentine has all the corpse parts together and basically forms is like an ultimate ability with Dirty Deeds Done Dirt Cheap as D4C Love Train, where he rides on a train and he can basically deflect bad luck somewhere else. So if like you were to shoot him, that would just teleport to somewhere across the world and someone gets shot. Or if like you were to try to, get after him, doesn't like, bad things going to someone else, someone else's misfortune. Because that's basically that's a stand. A lot of people die. A lot of people die. A lot of people die during this. And I'm not going to say who, but whatever. If you want to know, read the story. But, yeah, there's a lot of things going on at this point. And then Gyro gives his last lesson to Johnny to use your horse to help you achieve the the perfect golden circle or golden spiral, which at that point allows his stand to evolve into Tusk Act 4, which is able to pierce through the veil that is this like barrier that is keeping D4C Love Train / Funny Valentine making everything bad like redirect across the world. It allows him to basically win that fight and make Funny Valentine lose and die. But he doesn't die because D4C basically leaps from dimension to dimension. But what Johnny does is basically make it so like he suffocates underground. So he's going to die. But while he's dying in multiple dimensions, D4C is hopping to different dimensions to find versions of Dio Brando, who's already dead at this point because stuff, and finds a Dio Brando that still hates Johnny because, yes, that has a stand the world, which is the only stand that can beat Johnny. That can beat Johnny at this point. And so it's basically him and Johnny racing to the end of to New York. And incredibly enough, Johnny is able to like get close to the world, but also loses because he shot himself. It's all weird. It's kind of messed up. So he shoots himself, so he has to shoot himself again. It's really weird. I don't know. But Diego wins the race, but as he like tries to bring all the corpse parts together, and even he's trying to like be like, the president is evil. Let's get all the corpse parts together. Let's not have them do anything. As he's trying to get to the corpse parts, I think, Lucy comes out of nowhere and brings out the decapitated head of Diego Brando from the universe that they're in. And because he sees himself, he basically dies on the spot. It's so funny. And so Johnny, even though like he was in a wheelchair at the beginning, now because of the lessons and the adventures that he's been through the entire part, is able to finally stand. And I didn't explain that he was in a wheelchair at the beginning. But now he can finally walk again because of his tragic backstory, that he killed his brother in a horse accident because he had a rat for a pet. And, oh yeah, because his brother fell off a horse and got trampled because his rat got in the way of his horse. So he like fell off and then he got trampled and then he was blamed for it. But then when Johnny was on like an actual horse racer, because that was his profession and what he had a rivalry with Diego in that part, and the base one, and basically he was shot in the back and crippled. And so like at the beginning he starts off in a wheelchair, but at the end he learns how to walk again, and then moves to Japan and gets married and then dies there in part 8. Spoilers, but whatever. So that's the end of that. But for this review, again, I like it. It's good. It's not bad. But I feel like